Ami Rasul Lillahira. Oh, it's good to see you this morning, High Priestess. Sister Rasa. All of you guys who are in attendance. Good to see all of you. Email. Holding up the Ford corner over it. It's good to see you, brother. Yes. My lecture this morning I entitled Work for Self. Work for self. You know, it's so many of our people, by our people I mean the Kemites, the Hamites, the African Americans, the Ethiopians, black people, still haven't come to the understanding, you know, that they have to work and support themselves to get anywhere in this world of today. But it is our world. It always has been. If we would only come to that understanding. But we have to do some work. We have to do some work to accomplish these things. We're too busy waiting for someone else to do it for us. Even what High Priestess was saying before we started, you know, the lecture today, it's that simple to break it down to the smallest form. If there's work to be done, somebody has to do it. It's just as simple as that. It's as simple as it doesn't matter who does it. There's work to be done. But our brothers and sisters, especially those of the Negro mentality, and a lot of the African American mentality, when there's work to be done, they look at each other instead of doing the work. They look at the person next to them. They look at the person in front. They look at, they start looking around, which accomplishes nothing. So let's work for self. Let's work for self. The Most High God created the universe, and the gods are made the servants of men. Who are the gods? The gods are you all. You are the gods. Know that and understand that. Who are men? Men is anyone who has not lived up to the capabilities of becoming a God. So a lot of them walking around out here. Godhood can be attained. You got natural gods, and you got those who can attain godhood. Man must free himself from the restraint of negative opinions and produce positive ideas about history, religion, society, and culture, of space, dimension, geography, mathematics, time, and eternity, in order to strengthen himself in pride, honor, and self-respect. Words are names of power. Names or words such as Lilahi Ra, El, Amun Ra, Fahami, Kim, Ptah, Asar, Isis, Hathor, Ori, and others. Powerful names in our universe and on our earth. African Americans, Ethiopians, blacks, for the most part, are unaware of the power of cultural nationalistic names. They don't understand the power that they would have if they had names and were using names that reflect their own nationalistic culture. They are being yoked under the oppressive religious philosophy of European nations and their cohorts. Among their cohorts being the country that we live in, the United States of America. All of them, along with Europe and America, Canada, and other Anglo-European dominated places, are controlling people of color. Names and titles are bestowed upon individuals as a sign of certain qualities peculiar to that person. And when one bears a certain name, it is presumed that he or she possesses or will develop those qualities which her name or his name or title suggests or implies. How many of us try to live up to our titles? How many of us try to live up to our names? The names that most of us carry as Fahamis is a heavy load. It's a heavy load, but it's the best load. It's the best. And the reward you receive is so great if you live up to those names. We must resurrect the spirits of our noble ancestors, beginning with words, our names, and deeds, our actions. This invocation, inspired through the Salat, is the divine understanding of the Ethiopians, the ancient Ethiopians, made new and real for our world of today. The origin of names is of vital importance to the education of the man. Muslims, Jews, Christians, Mohammedans, we are all of them and one. For we are the fathers of all mankind and their civilizations. Before they were what they are, we were already that. Negroes refuse to accept that basic truth. But it is the truth. A prayer to God is like a prayer to your own self. For you and your God are one and the same thing. But he remains supreme over all. Believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities got to have confidence in yourself. The religion with God is peace. Reflect on your ancestors, you sons of Isis, queen of heaven, and you daughters of Asar, king of the earth. For all of you are brothers and sisters of Heru or Ori. And all these were people of renown. They are the Ishan, the Isha of the Garden of Ham. Gods and their kindred were 8 gods and the 12. So profit by their mistakes, but adore the good in them, for they were perfect in their day and time. When you are free and prosper in your homesteads and your farms, in your businesses and your trades, you are dwelling in the garden of Allah. When you are being successful in all of these things, you are in Alu. The Most High is over all angels, men, and gods. And you are the Bani Alahim, sons and daughters of God. The society of a people is their religion. The brotherhood of man will come when we forget that, this or that religion, and recognize only the human race. This is a case for education and a change of heart in all of the people. The colophobia and the religious bigotry practiced by Western societies has eroded the moral fiber of most of the nation's institutions. The way the European and his descendants live their life and practice their religion has torn down the moral fiber of the world. Everything is complete chaos. Proper knowledge and understanding of a people, of a nation's history, its culture, goes a long way in the eradication, if need be, of that particular way of life. If you know something is wrong and you're living in a part of being a part of a culture that is doing you and your people any good, leave that culture alone. Leave that religion alone. Our people still will not give up Jesus. There is much in our politics and religion and education which has no place in a democracy nor in a republic. For Hamira Rasul.
And
O Ethiopia, we become what we focus on. I said we become what we focus on. We need to focus on 3 things. They must become our ethical and moral principles. First, we must declare that we shall cause no harm to another of a person of color. Second, we must declare that your best interest is my best interest, and my best interest is your best interest. Third, we must declare to destroy all divisions that separate the people of faith in and out of religion in a higher power. There is nothing but one God. He may have many names, but remember there's just one God. Our Holy Father Rasul informs us religious differences must now be at an end. Quarreling among the creeds is over. All shall concentrate on the self-preservation and the welfare and the safety of Ham. And every person should vote, both male and female, and should study their city ordinances, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the state constitutions. Study all of those things. The black people in Africa today, as well as the blacks everywhere, are lost. Because all of them are now worshiping the saints, saviors, virgins, and the prophets of the races. Get your own. And every nation has a name for God and calls upon God by his different names, and he hears their prayers, their salats, and delivers them. And every nation has its own prince or master angel. And your prince or master angel is Raphael, because you are the children of the Son. And the blessed prophet Jesus called upon Eloi and Eli and Allah and set up a new civilization. The Most High makes the prophets understand, and the preachers tell it to the people. Sometimes the people have to change their God, the name of him, and approach him in a different way. Black people, again, must understand that it's that simple. We still don't understand it. We must approach him, our God, in a different way. There is just one God. But we don't want to approach him in the way of another nation's culture. O Ethiopia, the land of ancient Kim, which is Ham. Would you like to meet yourself when you are in trouble? Would you like to meet yourself on your judgment day? In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, we are told, and God, who is Amen, said, let us make man in our image, from our likeness, and let them have dominion over the earth and all its fruits thereof. Verse 27, and Amen, God created man in his own image, in the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So, God looks like man, and man looks like God. Then surely, if you are in God's image and made in God's image, then surely your God must be black. Our Holy Father Rasul informs us dream. Amen had to be black. If you know history, and you study history, and pray about history, it's simple. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 20. And it shall come, and it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the land of hosts in the land of Egypt, for they shall cry unto the Lord because of their oppressors. The same way these so-called Negroes is crying unto the Lord today. And he shall send them a Savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them.
I'm done.
Amen. In the name of Fahami is that Savior and great one.
I'm done.
Whatever your condition, that is the condition of your God. You and your God are one and the same thing. It's not that difficult. Hear this. The creature is bound to have some traits or some characteristics of the Creator. The Creator is above all traits and characteristics. We have traits and characteristics of the Creator, but the Creator is above traits and characteristics. Other men put their looks on their heavens, just as they do their homes. As far as the white man is concerned, there are two heavens. One heaven is for the white Christian, and the other heaven is for the black Christian. There is even a different hell for the blacks. In the finding of yourself, in the finding of yourself, in the finding of your proper self, have self-confidence. Most Negroes are afraid to find out who they are. Have confidence when you begin that search to find who you are. Be strong. Have confidence in your search for yourself. Our Holy Fahami Rasul informs us that he is convinced that the colored people will have to return to their pre-Christian or pre-Negro status, not to stay there, but to get a fresh and a right start. He says, go back when you study self. Go back to your beginnings. Go all the way back to your beginnings. Don't be afraid to go back there. But when you get back there, don't stay there. That was then. He said, go back there, find out about it, and make it new and modern. Get a fresh and a right start. If you made a mistake, would you pretend to be right when you knew you were wrong? Oh, my beloved sons and daughters of Ethiopia, concentrate. You must free your minds from the restraints of negative opinions and produce positive ideas about yourself, your people, and your God. If you don't do it, who's going to do it? Produce positive ideas about yourself. Produce positive ideas about your people. Produce positive ideas about your God. It will strengthen you in pride, honor, and self-respect. You must realize the importance of self. You need to acknowledge that ancestor worship is an honorable thing. Acknowledge that ancestor worship is an honorable thing. Black people are afraid of themselves. Couple that with the spirit nature of man is the road to self-respect and race pride. Every people has its own zone around the earth, the foundations of their own origins or beginnings. Once again, we must go back to our beginning. We must go back to our origin. As a race, we have yet to recognize a strictly racial prophet sent to deliver us from oppression. That's why we're still hung here. We still worshiping other people's saints and saviors. I'll say again, as a race, we have yet to recognize a strictly racial prophet sent to deliver us from oppression. That prophet is again manifest on earth in the image of the prophet of Ra, the Rasul. He has perfected the religion of Isis, El, Amun, Ra, and all the cults of Africa, and named it Fahami, or divine understanding. Wednesday of each week is for fasting and studying and seeking wisdom. Fasting and studying and seeking wisdom. The Kemite, so-called Negro, must acquaint himself with the fact that the Bible is not a true guide for him to follow. We are still not over that fact. When that fake or false halo of sanctity has been removed, one of the heaviest burdens will have been lifted from the minds of the civilized world. And resources amounting to wealth incalculable will be released for the common good. Therefore, we must continue to enlighten our race in what is good in it for him and what is not good in it for him. The only thing in the Bible that is good for our race is our history. History which was added to it to bring luck and power to the Europeans and the Jewish people. That's the only reason they have our history in there. To try to validate themselves. Fahami is not, I'll say again, Fahami is not the ancient Ethiopian mythological interpretations of Dr. E.A. Wallace Budge, Gerald Massey, Albert Churchward, Professor Ragland, and others. Fahami is not, I'll say again, Fahami is not the very apt interpretations of ancient Ethiopia by most of our very esteemed African and African American historians. They are still not talking about Fahami. Fahami is original with Paul N. Johnson, B.A. The Ra Rasul, our culture culture prophet, the Sheikh of Sheikhs Fahmy, Sheikh Ahmad-Din, the prophet of Amun-Ra, the Rubaiyatu Ha, and successor to the gods of Kim. He and his sheikhs, imams, priestesses, mothers, virgins, saints, friends, and followers have laid the groundwork for our culture college. Since the advent of his spirit, black culture clubs are springing up everywhere. Work for self. Work for self. Make your life's work the thing that you love to do. I'll tell you again. Make your life's work the thing that you love to do. Be civilized. Obey the laws of the land wherein you reside. And be well-mannered and polite to all. Wheresoever you turn to pray, you are facing God. Always remember your ancestors. Always remember your ancestors. Our noble ancestors are our national heritage and tradition. And let our celebrations make merry over a victory of our own making and our own expense. Making other people rich will not rebuild our heritage nor our tradition. There is more to life than profit and pleasure. Our true pleasure will come when we make unto ourselves a mighty achievement. If we are expecting to open the doors of the earth, we must spend money freely in the cause of Fahmy and in a culture to uplift ourselves. O my beloved sons and daughters of Ethiopia, I beseech you to exercise understanding. The greatest sin and evil that we suffer as a people is our insane jealousies. This condition has been established among us because we are following the strange and jealous gods of other nations. When a race has been stripped of its heritage, its name, God, history, religion, philosophy, language, salvation, culture, and theology, from creation up until present day, that race no longer possesses self-respect nor identity. In order to educate a people, they must be taught of their own saints, saviors, and sons of God. Culture is education in industry, trade, as well as art. It is the understanding of the different institutions that make civilization. Frolicking and dancing is not culture. Black people must leave yesterday behind. I'll tell it again. Black people must leave yesterday behind. We must step into tomorrow. Strive to know and respect one another. Plan and be patient as you work and await the outcome of your plan. Everything that is from God to a given people and taught to them by their prophet is to be used by those people to become successful. The creator of all life, light, and energy, the God within, divine understanding is above all. We can do this. We must do this. We will do this for Honey.